Okay, here we are. Thank you for coming to class, everybody. And it's good to see you all. And first thing I would like for you to do, you have a question right away that you're going to answer, and you can say it out loud or you can type it into the chat. I want you to tell me how you're feeling today. What Muppet are you right now? Can you guys all see? Okay, we got a Kermit. I do not remember that Muppet's name, but okay. Okay, so you were, I think that's Rizzo the Rat. And you're feeling Kermit right now. Okay, all right. Very cool, very cool. That's the first responsible I've had today. My other students today, I had them respond as well. I had a Miss Piggy. I had a couple hungry. I had like one annoyed. I had a sad bear. Nobody was, nobody was love struck though. Okay, so welcome to class. This is me. I'm feeling a little weird. I'm kind of a gonzo right now. And just a few things I wanted to tell you. It's okay to be wrong while we learn, so I'm going to get you geared up to answer a lot of questions. In fact, there are 4 coming your way, one very quickly. And today's lesson is learning a complex environmental problem that often begins with farming practices. So that's what we're learning about today. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. I will happily slow down for you guys. So here we are. Number 1. So I'm going to tell you a step-by-step process. Okay. So here's the beginning of the issue. First of all, fertilizer is sprayed on crops so that we can have plants grow, so that we can have things to eat, such as corn. So fertilizer helps plants grow. Step number 2. What can often happen is the fertilizer gets washed away by the rain, and it can then move around on the surface of the ground, or the fertilizer then can seep into the ground. Number 3. Then the fertilizer is transported and gets into bodies of water. So remember, fertilizer helps plants grow, so it's filled with nutrients. And this can happen above ground or below ground. Nutrients. So we have all these nutrients from the fertilizer getting into bodies of water. All right, here it comes. Your first question. Predict. What do you think happens next? It's okay to be wrong. Okay. 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 Woo! You all presented a different response and put your own spin on it, and that's fantastic. And man, I was really hoping somebody would say something wrong, but you guys didn't. So, wow, okay. Maybe you guys know all this stuff already. I don't know. So, let's find out. Were you right? Yes, you were all correct in a different way. So, step number 4, what happens next? Yes, the fertilizer causes growth. It also is pollution. So suddenly we have algae growing in the water, and a ton grows on the surface of the water. So in case you don't know, algae is often microscopic plants in the water. It can also look kind of like seaweed too. So there's a lot of different algae. Okay. This is bad. So let's dig a little deeper, and I want you to try to tell me again. Please be wrong about something. You do not have to be right. You don't have to give an answer that you think I'm waiting to hear. Why is this so bad? So try to dig a little deeper into this. You can say it out loud. You can type into the chat. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Jeez. You guys are just blowing it away here. My goodness. Okay. Those were all really excellent answers, and I'm not just saying that. So let's move on and find out. First of all, this is what's called an algal bloom. Has anybody heard of this in the news by chance? Algal bloom? Okay. Okay, so this is what it is. And look at how disgusting that goo is in the water. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's not. So this is just a real life picture of what it can look like. So let's move on to what happens in our process of this complex problem. So this is bad, and you're all spot on with your answers. The algae covers the surface of the water. So now the sun can't get to the plants at the bottom, and those plants die. And when that happens, they're using up oxygen that's in the water. This is called hypoxia. Sometimes it's called a slightly different term. Number 6, then the algae dies. And Missy, bacteria, which you mentioned, overgrows, and there's tons of bacteria in the water, and it's decomposing all these dead plants. And that takes up even more oxygen in the water. So the dissolved oxygen that's in the water gets used up. Everything's dead. It's disgusting. And we have dead, 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 dead zone time. You all look really concerned. I'm sorry. You're like you're like, oh, geez, that's awful. So, this is called artificial, or it's called cultural eutrophication. So, really big word, but congratulations, you just learned this concept of eutrophication. Eutrophication can be very natural. In fact, it does happen naturally. But when us humans do certain things, which can happen often with farming for various reasons, we call it artificial or cultural eutrophication. So eutrophication. So in summary, so I like this graphic, and I'm going to move our faces around. So, oh, look at the beautiful healthy picture on the left. You can see there's plants and nice clear water and animals. And then on the right, we have sediment, nitrogen, phosphorus as a fertilizer, gets in the water. We have this algae bloom. Sunlight can't get through, the water's dirty, and then plants start to die. Things are decomposed by bacteria. It's using up all the oxygen. Awful. This can also be called red tide. So sometimes it can be red, and that's because of the bacteria that Missy brought up. And you can see how devastating this can be to beach tourism, to our economy, to human health. This actually happens in a lot of areas around the world, as you can see in the map on the right. This happens regularly in Florida, in fact. So you might see red tide maybe more often in the news than you might see algal blooms. So let's just take a moment and think again about these fertilizers. Now, part of the problem is that you have these chemical fertilizers compared to organic fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers feed the plant. Well, that's good, but it doesn't really feed the soil like organic ones do. So, chemical fertilizers are more likely to get washed away by the rain. So here's another question for you. So I think we're up to what? Question 3? Why are these fertilizers used by farmers then, if they cause so much damage? What are the farmers thinking? Why are they doing this? Okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. You guys are just amazing. Oh my God. Sounds like I'm making this up, but I'm not. Yeah, you guys are all 100% correct. Sometimes the chemical synthesizers is a matter of cost. Sometimes it's just what they've been doing for years. And yeah, it's because it's faster, right? You can mass produce food. And, you got to hand it to the farmers. They aren't just trying to make money. They're not just running a business. They're trying to feed the world. Back in the 1950s, there was a big need to grow lots of food fast. And I would ask you why, but I'm just going to throw this chart at you. Why? Because look at the human population exploding. You needed to suddenly feed so many people. And are we feeding the whole world? No, we're not. Look at all these people we have over like 1 billion people who are undernourished. So farmers have a huge responsibility. And the part of this lesson was not to make farmers out to be villains, right? They have a serious, serious job to do. We can't survive without agriculture, which is another word for farming. So, last question for the class today. And this is a really tough question. Possibly. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You guys are rocking this today, so maybe this won't be so hard for you. But how do you think we could prevent or stop artificial eutrophication while still meeting hunger needs of the world? There's no real good answer for this per se. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it's also tough because organic fertilizers take longer. So if you're trying to it's better and you increase microbes in the soil, so you get healthier soil, but it takes a little more patience. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Wow. That sounds like a very cultural response. It's not just the technology